Scream Nights, Chapter 6. The summer changed into the autumn, and I didn't see any more ghosts, and I did nothing. The sky was grey, and dead leaves below onto the grass. Did the children see the things? Sometimes everything suddenly went quiet in the classroom. I think that wicked fear were with us then. I think too that the children could see them, but usually they were happy and worked hard. They were very interesting in their uncle. Will he come soon? They asked me. They wrote beautiful letter to him. We can't send them to him, I explained. He's too busy. Perhaps he will come later in the year. I wanted to speak to the children about the ghost, but I couldn't find the way. They stayed silent about them, and so did I. Sometimes alone, I thought about it all night. But my thoughts stay a secret. Everything felt heavy, like a stone was coming. Then the stone came. I was walking to church one Sunday morning with the Miles. Flora and Mrs. Groves were in front. It was a bright, cold autumn weather now. Can you tell me, Miles said, when I am going back to school? His voice was sweet, but the words surprised me. I stopped suddenly. He smiled at me. I am a boy, you know, and I am getting older now. I'm in with a lady all time. Is it a good idea? She's a wonderful lady. Of course, but a boy needs other boys and men. We walk on now. Were you happy at school? I asked him. He thought for a second. Oh, I'm happy enough anywhere. Then you must be happy here too. Yes, but I want more interesting things to see and do. I see, I said. Does my uncle know about me? About everything? I don't think he is interested. Miles, I answered. Then he must come and visit us. Who will ask him? I will, Miles said. We were at the church now, but I did not go in. I stayed outside for the first time. I did not want to be with Miles. Of course, he was right. It was unnatural for a boy to spend all his time with the governess every day. And I was doing nothing about it. Could I speak to his uncle? Miles knew now that I did not want to do this. He will use it in this plan, I thought. He and Flora looked innocent, but they were not. I must leave this house. I will go back and get ready. I can leave today. In the house, I went up to the schoolroom for my books. I opened the door, but there, sitting at my table, was that a dreadful woman, Miles Jesser. She was writing, I knew it, to her lover, Quint. His tired face was full of suffering. She was using my pen, my paper, and stood up, and for a few seconds she looked at me. I stared at her. Then I screamed, "You are wicked, terrible woman." She seems to hear me, but the next minute the room was empty. And I knew now that I must stay in house. I could not leave. I have talked to Miss Jesser, I said to Mrs. Gross later by the fire. Mrs. Gross was surprised, but she stayed calm. And what did she say? She is suffering. She wants Flora. I have decided to write to the children. Uncle. Oh yes, Mrs. Gross said. You must. I will tell him this, I said. I cannot teach a boy who is wicked. The school have sent him home because of his wickedness. But we don't know. Yes, we do, I said. He seems to be so good that he must be wicked. Really, wicked. I will write tonight. I began the letter that evening. There was a strong wind and heavy rain outside. But I was quiet in my room, and Flora was asleep in her little bed. I stood up, took my candle, and went to Miles' bedroom door. I listened. He called out, "Come in. I can hear you outside." He was awake but in bed. "Aren't you sleeping?" I asked him. "No," he answered, quite happily. "I like to lie and think." "What do you think about?" "About you, of course. And about all these strange things." "What strange things?" "Oh, you know." I held his hand and he smiled up at me. "Of course you can go back to school," I said. "But we must find a new one for you." He looked so young and innocent in his bed. "You didn't say anything before," I continued. "What do you really want?" He shook his head. "I want to go away." "Oh, you know what a boy wants." "Do I?" "You want to go to your uncle." I asked him. "You must come here." "Yes, but he will take you away." "Miles, that's what I want. You must tell him everything." "Tell him what?" I asked. "He will ask your question. You must tell him things too." "What things?" "The things that you don't tell me. You must decide on his plans for you. You can't go back to your old school, you know." I looked at this brave, calm young boy and I kissed him with love. "I am writing to your uncle," I said. "I have already started the letter." "Well then, finish it." "Tell me something first. Miles, what happened?" He looked at me, surprised. "What happened?" "Here in this house." "What happened at school?" He was still looking at me. I held my arm out to him. Oh, Miles, I said, dear little Miles, I want to help you. I don't want to hurt you. I want to help you so much. But you knew at once that this was a mistake. Suddenly there was a loud and terrible noise, a crush against the window. I jumped up. Everything was dark. The candle has gone out. I said, I blow it out, my dear, Miles said.